Well, welcome back. It is the next day after I finished the suspension from the video you may have not just watched, but for the 5 people that watched it, we're back for the brakes. I was gonna do the brakes in that last video with the suspension, but obviously given how long it took, it was easier to just make that one video. I don't think Bear wants to be, I think Bear wants to be on camera too. Say hi, Bear. I think he's gonna come over here and love on me. Let's go. Oh, thank you. I'm trying to talk to people. Okay, so we are at brakes. I kind of cheated. I kind of went forward a little bit and re-geared how to do this, as I haven't done brakes in over a year now. Last time I did them was on the Cuda. But let me show you what you need, what you got, and then I'll show you how it goes on. So we got obviously rotor, dust shield, caliper bracket, steering knuckle, which last night I realized at 9 o'clock at night that I had thrown these away. Do not throw away your steering knuckles. This is the only thing you keep from what you took off. Very glad I remember that because trash picked up today. We got 3 bolts you'll need. This bolt goes there. You have a long bolt and a short bolt. The long bolt will go on this side. The short bolt will go on that side. The long bolt goes on this side because it's going through both the dust shield and the caliper bracket, as to where this one is only going through the dust shield. And these bolt to the steering knuckle on the back side through these holes, which you will see here in a minute. We got your castle nut that goes on the end. That's when you know you're done, is when you put the castle nut on. Cotter pin goes through the castle nut. This is your lock key, or whatever you want to call it. It goes on there. Actually, this is when you know you're done, is when you put the dust cap on. That goes on the rotor. You got your inner wheel bearing and your outer wheel bearing. Well, it depends on the person. Somebody might call that inner because it's on the inside of the rotor, so it goes in the far back. So some people might call that inner, some people might call that outer. I'm calling that outer, and then I'm calling this one inner. You can't get these mixed up because they're obviously different sizes. This one goes in the back, just like that. And you see how it comes up and it widens out. That always faces outward, where it kind of starts to I don't know how to say it, when it you can see it. Just look at the bearing. Look how it goes wider on this end and not as wide on this end. The not wider end faces down when you're putting it in the back. And then for the front, it's going to be the same exact ordeal. Wider end facing out. But before you do any of that, you grease those bad boys up with some grease, which I just realized I've had this for like 5 years. I am basically out. This will be enough to do this side, but it definitely won't be enough to do both sides. So I'm gonna have to go to the parts store, or my wife's gonna have to pick it up for me on her way home. I wish I would have looked at that beforehand, but how many times have I told you I am not a professional? So let me get this. Oh, this is your that's your gasket. So once you put this wheel bearing in, this gasket with the brown or gold or whatever you want to call it facing inward, goes in behind it, and then you tap, 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 and it seals. It's your wheel seal, whatever. People will call it different things. Just, it's a seal that goes right there after you put the bearing in. You tap it in flush, and that's it. So, let me get y'all set up on the tripod, and we will do it because there's nothing to it but to do it. So, caliper bracket lines up with these holes. Your dust shield, you see the 3 holes? They only line up one way, so you can't get it wrong. Bracket first, dust shield second. Because, obviously, it won't fit that way. So, dust shield first. Caliper bracket first, dust shield second. Get your top nut. Get it in. Get it tightish. Get your short bolt. Get your long bolt. Long bolt goes on the back one. Short bolt goes on the front one. Now, something I just went over, but I didn't hit record correctly. So, you have your steering knuckles. They point out. Don't do what I just did and put on the one that pointed in, because this is, you want it to obviously point towards the car, or else it'll be in the way right here. So, do as I say, not as I do. Your nuts. Come on. Find your nut, other nut. Don't get your sockets or wrenches ahead of time, like a professional would. No chance. 3/4. Next, rotor. So we're already there. So make sure you grease up. Am I recording? Okay, make sure you really grease up the inside where this wheel bearing's gonna be spinning. You're obviously gonna grease this, but lather this bad boy up too. There's a little lip right here on the outside where this will sit. Don't put grease on that, because you don't want this slipping and sliding all over the place. You want that nice and tight and not moving around. Same goes for the wheel bearing that's going to go right here. Grease this really well along with the wheel bearing. I also like to put grease all over that. Do not be stingy with it. I just hope I have enough right now. Let's start with the back. Don't be shy. Lay it on it like a female would in the 50s with some lipstick. 60s, 40s, 30s, 20s? I don't know. I wasn't alive. So, get it all in there. And then people have very different ways of doing these. You can buy tools that grease them, pack them, whatnot. I do the old school, just get it in there. And then, well, don't be too dirty. Just press it in. Get it everywhere. Really hope I got enough. You know what I just realized? I didn't put that gasket on the back of the disc brake on the Cuda when it did the brakes a year ago. Oops. Yeah, well. Layer on in there. Sure it's centered. Get your nasty hands. Don't worry, I'm gonna wipe the grease off the rotor before I put anything else on. Oh, nope. I lied. Lining this bad boy up. Get it all nice and greasy. Okay, to let it rest for a second, because now you gotta do this wheel bearing. Once that's all lathered up, stick her in. Wipe it off. Get your lock key, whichever you prefer to call it. Whatever you master mechanics call it. Then get your castle nut. Get your Mexican wrench or your croissant wrench and get it tight. And then you back it off. Now people say half a turn, full turn, quarter turn, a million turns, 2 turns, 8 turns, 9 turns, 30 turns. I just say back it off enough to where it spins nice and free. And also you got to line it up with the cotter pin hole. So about right there. Look at that. Just nice and free. Too tight, won't spin free. Too loose, it'll spin way too much, and your wheel at some point will fall off. So don't do it. Get your cotter pin, stick it through. Cold fingers, use them anyways. Get you a set of pliers or whatever, and just and then like that. They gotta be out of the way enough so that dust shield, the dust cap can go on. Which this one's not wanting to cooperate. Let's see. Looks like it might work. There's your dust cap. Give it some tickles. Or not. Actually, throw a little grease on it. I don't have a flat tip. Will this work? Looks like it. There we go. There we go. Look at there. Oh. Or not. Okay. All right. We are in there. Now, time for the caliper. So, something I learned when I did the brakes on the CUDA, or that I relearned probably because it'd been a minute since I'd done it before the CUDA, but bleeder screw always points up. So, if you go to put your caliper on and you put it this way, it will never bleed the air out of the system when you try to bleed the brakes. So, always pointing up. You got your disc brake, your pads in there, and then you just slide it on. Ow! Slide it onto your cold, skinny, bony finger, because that's always great. And I am definitely not gonna have enough to do the other side right now, which I gave myself like a 2-hour time limit to do this. But if y'all haven't learned by now, it just don't work that way here. Not at Krusty Classics Garage. So I don't have the Allen head for this because I used to have it, but I broke it off on something I was working on some time ago. Never got another one, so I gotta get another one of those. All right, so get your brake line. Comes with the kit. Make sure on the bolt back here, you got these copper washers. You got 2 of them. One goes on the back side of the bolt where it's pressing up against the brake line itself, and then on the inside of the bolt where the brake line is pressing up into the caliper. I'm not going to tighten these right now, as I'm not going to be doing the brakes as far as brake fluid until I do the master cylinder and brake booster, and then get the other end, stick it up in there, if you're using the regular brake line that was already there, I would strongly suggest putting a good amount of PB Blaster or WD-40 or something on the threads. And then just screw it in. Like I said, I'm not tightening that either, but just giving you the visual. And you are done. That is the brake system. Well, rotors, disc brake on the front. What's left is obviously you gotta do the other side, and then you gotta do the brake booster and the master cylinder and the lines and the brake fluid. I'm gonna see if this brake line would actually be a bigger pain, the bigger pain to have to change because of the way it's routed that way. I'm gonna see if it'll fit the new distribution block that's on the new booster or the new master cylinder. If not, I'll just change it. There's actually nothing wrong with any of these lines that are on it except for the broken one on the rear. So that one for sure is going to have to be replaced. The other ones, the driver's side one, I'm replacing this line just because I had to cut it to get it off. So that'll be replaced with that one, super easy. And then just the one running to the rear is the other one I got to change. And then that is it. So I got to go get more grease. And I gotta do the other side, and then I probably won't get to the booster today. I could probably just unbolt the master cylinder and just bolt that booster on. But as far as putting the rod in and everything, I might not get to it today, but for sure tomorrow I want to say it should be done. Brake lines, everything bolted up, blah blah blah, and I'll be able to bleed the system and hopefully have much better brakes than what there was. So I'll either see you in a little bit, or actually either way, it'll be a split second for you. So either another day for me, another 2 days for me, another day for you, whatever. You know what I'm saying. So I'll see you in a split second maybe. It was a split second. Well, for y'all. Probably about an hour later for me. So we are completely done as far as putting the disc brakes on. I got the sway bar put back on. It got new end links and bushings, but she is back. Well, back and better, definitely, if you compare it to what was on it. She sees a cat. But we got coilovers, 2 of their control arms, sway bar, disc brakes. This should ride and steer a million times better. I still have to put the new tie rods in. Just if you haven't done it before, I mean, when you pull these off, try to pull them off complete so that you can match up the new ones to the length, and the new ones will go in at the same exact length these came out. Because 9 times out of 10, I would assume that when this was aligned, however long ago it was, that these are what was in it when it was aligned. So matching those back up will at least help the alignment be as good as it can until you get a full-on alignment. And another reason why you can't align it here, I mean, you could do it at home with the measuring tape and all that, but obviously the absolute best is to take it somewhere and get them to do it. But the shims aren't all the same width, so it's not like I could just pull these out, they fall on the ground, and me know exactly where to put them back in the control arms. So, and these are old anyways, so taking that somewhere. So these are definitely, the tires are definitely gonna lean in like that, most likely. I'm actually about to put them back on because, like I told y'all before, HOA, I at least need to just put the wheels on it so I can get it off the jack stands to make it look like it's not a junk vehicle, as they told me in a letter before of a previous swap I did. But I got the passenger side done too. Same exact ordeal as the other side. Looks, I mean, just if you go back to the video of me tearing it down and you look at how it was to how it is now, it's a trillion times better cosmetically and obviously mechanically. Still got to tighten those bolts, don't let me forget. But today, probably not gonna, I mean, I could get to this, but it's actually darker than the video is showing, and it's getting colder. I'm used to the 105 degree heat that I worked in every day this summer doing swaps and stuff. So now that we're hitting the 40s here in Texas, that is cold to me. Plus, oh, there was something else I forgot, but yeah. So tomorrow we will get that off. We'll put on the new one. Actually, let's mock it up. Make sure it's even gonna. Is it that way? I think it's that way. Oh yeah, that'll fit. I just need to take out whatever that is to the left of the master cylinder that's on it. I have no idea what that's for. Maybe you can tell me in the comments what this is for. It's got wires coming off of it. Oh, no, never mind. Those are coming out of the firewall. Yeah, I have no idea what that is. A vacuum piece. Maybe for windshield wiper fluid. I have no idea. But it definitely has to come off for the brake booster to go on. So, split second for you. About 15 hours for me. See you in a second.